Welcome everybody. It is another exciting episode of HomeKit Insider. You've got me, Andrew O'Hara, here with my pal, and, little known fun fact, the only podcast host with a secret cattail. It is Steven Robles. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. That's why I never stand up in videos. That's why you'll
I know. Sometimes I think I see it pop out and like wiggle and say hi, and then it's got like a mind of its own. Like, I mean, you know how it goes.
Yeah. Jellicle Cats and Jell. You ever see Cats the musical?
Yes, and the movie version, which was fantastic.
The movie,
but
movie was something else. I was like, Judi Dench? How did she? Who roped her into this? But anyway, that's Cats the musical. Andrew, it's episode 150 of the HomeKit Insider podcast. Can you believe it?
That's insane. That's a lot of home kidding. That's a lot.
That's a lot of HomeKit. I don't know if I told you this. I was actually at the podcast conference I went to in Las Vegas. There was a listener. I was chatting a couple guys up. One of them, a previous Apple employee. He's doing something else now. Faithful listener of HomeKit Insider. He said, I listen every episode. He really enjoyed our conversation about the whole Apple Home versus Apple HomeKit. And, he thought that was a very, Apple-y podcast
Inside
topic.
baseball right there.
yeah, he loved that kind of stuff. But, we got fans of the show everywhere. So thank you all, faithful listeners. It has been slowly growing, really, over the past couple of years, inching towards, I don't know, we don't have to say the number, but it's growing. And so thank you all, listeners and viewers on YouTube. And I think people like this show, Andrew. I think it's good. Speaking of which, you supposedly ran into someone at a car dealership because our 5-star review this week is from Kim Young from the USA, and he mentioned your name in the review and something about a car dealership. What is that about?
I got a new Jeep a few months ago now. I guess this was back in December, I want to say. And I do remember that. We were talking about the podcast and stuff like that. So, well, thank you. I'm glad we got a 5-star. Buying the car was worth it to get a 5-star podcast review.
That is worth it.
It only took a few $1,000s and a hit to the credit score, but we secured that extra 5-star review, Steven. What have you been doing for the podcast, huh?
Not buying. My car is a Kia Soul from 2011, so I am not buying a car for a 5-star review. But
okay, you try fitting 2 dogs, a human child, a wife, and everything else into a Jeep Compass. It does not work. Something's going on the roof, and
we have a Toyota Sequoia for our family, for the family car. Because we have 3 human beings that are not adults, 3 children. So you need room.
I gotta say, the dogs take up more room than the baby does. In a lot of ways. They don't just sit in a tiny little car seat with their paws. Over the seat, all polite and stuff. No, they sprawl out and take up, we have the Jeep Grand Cherokee L, which is a 3rd-row seating, plus I have a roof basket that we put stuff in. And I feel like it's still just enough space for the dogs to enjoy their time back there. So they're not cramped out. And we go on a lot of road trips. My wife is always planning stuff. So we go on a lot of trips. We go up to Michigan a few times a year, which is a good 6-hour drive. And, it's a hike up there. So we needed the extra space.
For sure. Well, very cool. This is now a Car Kit Insider. We're talking about car.
I actually did. I don't know if we ever call it out on the show or not. And it's only tangentially related. But there is HomeKit integration in CarPlay. And I did a CarPlay review of the new Uconnect 5 system in the new Jeeps, and it's fantastic. I had previously used the aftermarket wireless CarPlay adapters to get wireless CarPlay.
Right.
But you'd have weird things, it would just delay to connect sometimes, or we'd be inside, the car is off and parked in the driveway. You get a phone call and it would still connect to your car system because the little adapter plugs in via USB, so it still has power, so it's still So that was a thing, but this is just flawless. And what I love about it, it's simple thing. I can get in the car and I can start it. Car connects. I'm oh no, I've forgotten my shoes. And I'll get out of the car with my phone still in my pocket, walk inside, and when I come back, CarPlay just reconnects again. With the aftermarket, you would have to unplug the adapter and plug it in again because it doesn't re-scan for your phone until it like, turns on. So if you ever leave your car and it would disconnect, it would never reconnect again. Or wired CarPlay, where you have to like unplug and plug in each time, which just feels really awkward and unnecessary. So it's a much nicer experience. So if anyone cares about the new Uconnect system, which is in a lot of like the FCA cars, the Fiat, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, all that stuff, Uconnect 5 is like Android based, can get wireless software updates that are going to a dealership, and has wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. It's a huge upgrade over the previous version of Uconnect. So if anyone wants to geek out on that, it's I throw a lot of stuff in there about it.
I'm just glad my Kia Soul has Bluetooth. I'm just glad because honestly, my cars before that I had to use the weird FM transmitters and such. So, yeah, it's very, very exciting. Very exciting. Okay, HomePod update. This actually happened last week as you're listening or watching this episode, and this was not a software update that came with iOS or anything like that, but it is the sound detection for smoke detectors and carbon monoxide alarms. So this just kind of appeared in the Home app. This was like a server-side update. No iOS or HomePod software update at all. This just appeared, and you basically press continue on this little thing we're showing here. If you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/HomeKitInsider. And once you press that, you can enable this feature, and that's kind of it. Like, it's just you enable this, and now your HomePods are listening for a smoke detector alarm or a carbon monoxide alarm sound, and it will notify your iPhone, even when you're not home, that the alarm is going off. And once that alarm goes off, you'll actually then be able to do like a live check-in and actually listen in on the microphone of the HomePod that heard the alarm and sent you the notification, and you can see what's going on, or let people know like, hey, is the alarm going on? What's going on? And you can check in at home. So really cool. I thought there were more sounds that were going to be coming as far as recognition, but at least for carbon monoxide and smoke detector, it's pretty cool, and you should be able to see it in your Home app right now. You got a video on this?
I know. I wish they would do. They need like a baby detection one, like baby crying or something, and then
and you can do that shortcut on your phone. You can do that shortcut on your phone, but not on the HomePod. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Because I'd love just to be able to, you got a HomePod in the room that you use to play like white noise, create like a nice little baby nap time scene that adjusts the shades, turns off the lights, turns on like a lantern or something, and then starts listening for sounds. Then you can just get alerted, and you can just because HomeKit cameras cannot be triggered on sounds, which is like when we had talked about baby tech, that was a big problem. If you get like a camera or a HomeKit camera, you could get alerts on like movement, but not on sounds, and you kind of need like the sound part of it if they're fussing, and I mean you don't want to get notified every time like they move. So yeah, Apple should just kind of move those features across the board.
Yes, same. And so you're doing a video on this. Are you like setting off your smoke alarm? How are you going to test this?
Yeah, no, I am not going to do that. I'm just going to play the sound and we'll see if it connects. I don't know if there's like, I don't think it can be volume based, right? Because who knows how far away your HomePod is from like your detector. But I'm going to play some popular sounds and see how many of them kind of get detected by the HomePod, and just test how it works. But I'm going to walk through the feature in a video that'll be live by the time you guys are listening to this.
Live. Very good. All right, next, the Nest thermostat. So this is, Google owns Nest now, but the Nest thermostat, at least the latest model that was released in 2020, so a few years ago, is actually going to get Matter support through a software update. And being Matter, you'll then be able to get that Nest thermostat into HomeKit and use it in your Apple Home. Now, remains to be seen. I imagine this will still have to be connected to the Google services, like when you first set up the thermostat. But the fact that you can still get it into the Home app, use it with HomeKit, pretty cool. Doesn't say anything about older Nest thermostat devices. So if you have like the old, like really chunky dial style Nest thermostats, probably not those. This is the 2020 model, and then future devices like the Nest thermostat this year, coming this year, they said. But yeah, Nest getting Matter. Look at that. Another Matter device.
Yeah, we knew this was coming, and this is a huge, huge, huge deal. This is one of the reasons that Matter is a good thing, because I've seen so many people with Nest thermostats, because they like Nest kind of like started that category, right, with the original Nest. I had one of those before Google bought them, and I eventually abandoned them for 13 other different thermostats before landing on Ecobee because of the Google acquisition. Like, okay, clearly at this point they're never getting HomeKit. At that point, Matter was a pipe dream. Like, there's no way Google owns Nest is going to get HomeKit. So like, I moved on from Nest, but there's still a people who are like, they think smart thermostat, and the first thing they think of is Nest. So they came out with these newer models now, and they have everything built in for Nest or for Matter. Like you said, you'll have to set them up, I believe, through the Google stuff normally, just because they're going to need a firmware update, right, to be able to be incorporated into Matter. So I anticipate you'll go through the normal setup process, then do a firmware update, then there'll be Matter codes to be able to add to everything else. So, but this is great. This is one of the biggest ones. This is probably one of the questions that we get asked the most. Is I know I get questions all the time, like, "Hey, will Nest get updated with HomeKit?" No, but it will get Matter, and it is effectively the same thing.
Yeah, that's
No doorbells yet because there's no video, but I think that'll come in the future with Matter updates.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the day you can put Nest doorbells in HomeKit, that's going to open up an entire category. That's going to be pretty wild. Mind blown. Well, before we get to some exciting products, at least I have on hand, and one that I got. But anyway, I won't give any more away here. I'll flash one of the boxes. Yeah, there you go. There's one box, and here's one of the products. Yeah. You can't even see it. It's just a dark blur. Can't even tell.
Wow. Can't even tell that you just flashed everyone, or what you flashed everyone.
Wait a minute. Now, wait a minute. Listen, we're going to talk about some exciting things, but before we do, we want to thank our one sponsor for today's episode, our good friends at Collide. That's Collide with a K, not Collide like, two cars collide. No, not like that. This is a good Collide. This is Collide with a K, okay. And they have some big news. If you're an Okta user, I still want to know from you listeners, if you use Okta, if you know what Okta is, if you've ever heard the word Okta any other place besides the HomeKit Insider Show, I want to know. I want to know what this is. But if you're an Okta user, they can get your entire fleet to 100% compliance. How does Collide do it? Well, if a device isn't compliant, the user, they can't log in. They can't log into your cloud apps until they fix the problem. It's that simple. Collide patches one of the major holes in zero trust architecture, which is device compliance. Without Collide, IT teams can struggle to solve basic problems like keeping everyone's OS and browser up to date, unsecured devices, or logging into your company's apps because there's nothing there to stop them. Well, Collide is the only device trust solution that enforces compliance as part of authentication, and it's built to work seamlessly with Okta. The moment Collide's agent detects a problem, it alerts the user, gives them instructions to fix it, and if they don't fix the problem within a set time, they are blocked. Collide's method means fewer support tickets. Blocked. They're blocked. Blocked. Like, that's it. It's over. Wall is up. Shield's up, as they say in the Star Trek.
I kind of like the idea of shocking them. Shock therapy.
Like a shock collar, but for device compliance.
Collide free new feature for you.
Yeah. You can just run with it. Shock collar.
Perfect.
Device not compliant. Shock them. I like it.
Done.
I like that.
Done.
Yeah, good to go. And they're blocked or shocked. Collide's method means fewer support tickets, less frustration, and most importantly, 100% fleet compliance. So visit collide.com/HomeKit to learn more and book a demo. That's KOLIDE.com/HomeKit. Thanks to Collide for sponsoring this episode. All right, this next device is kind of fun, Andrew, because we actually recorded an entire segment on it in a previous episode, like 2 weeks ago, and then I found out that it was under embargo and had to delete it from that last episode. But now we get to talk about it because it's official, and I'm talking about, here we go, the Aqara F2 presence sensor or occupancy sensor, which is now available in the U.S. This was embargoed for April 20th last week. So it was announced it's available. But this is the thing, and this is one of those devices that I have been eagerly awaiting, a presence sensor better than a motion detector. It'll know you're in the room if you're just sitting there, just staring blankly into the distance.
Not moving, not blinking.
Staring. Anyway, did you get one of these? Do you have one of these?
I do. I haven't got to play around with it yet because I was quickly out of town after our last recording. So I left town and they came back. They're like, let's record. I'm like, I have had not time to play with anything, and I know that was on my list to play with before this week's episode, and I never got around to it. Unfortunately, but I do have one that I am excited to set up and test around because that's going to be a game changer. It's going to be a game changer for sure. I'll let you get into your details with it, but one of the things that I found funny, so we have I have a light in our bathroom mounted underneath the cabinets, and I have it on a motion sensor. So you go in, and it turns on the lights and everything. But then after it like stops like detecting motion or whatever, it'll turn like the lights off, which is normally fine. And there's like a few minute delay or something on it. But a lot of times I'll get in the shower and then it doesn't know I'm there no more, so it turns off the lights. And I'm like, so I'm like waving my arm around like outside the shower trying to get it to kick back on. This little presence sensor would, theoretically fix that problem because it knows you're in the room. It'll keep those lights on until you walk out. The second you walk out, kill them. You don't have to put on like a time delay or anything. Just when presence isn't detected, turn them off.
That's it. So this is one of the funniest things about this thing. This is the Aqara app, and you'll see the occupancy sensor down there at the bottom, and it says people exists. And whenever there's no occupancy, it says no people exists. And I think that is hilarious. So they'll probably update that. But also here in the Aqara app, there's like this grid thing where you actually set up where it's detecting the occupancy, and so you can kind of select, you tell it which wall it's against in the room, and you kind of select the area that it is monitoring for occupancy. And then you can even see, like here in the Aqara app, it'll say presence, absence, presence, absence. And it'll tell you all the different times where it saw occupancy and then when it didn't. And it says someone is detected for 2 hours and something minutes. Someone is detected for 21 seconds. So here in the Aqara app, pretty, accurate. It's been working. I've had it set up for, about 2 weeks since last we recorded, and I couldn't talk about it, but I did anyway. And so that's in the Aqara app. Now, of course, there is a HomeKit code right on the thing. So you can set it up directly in Home. You don't have to set it up in the Aqara app. You do have to bind it, if you want to use the Aqara stuff and set up like kind of the area or whatever. But anyway, so in the Home app, though, there's this interesting distinction. So this is the sensor, the Aqara sensor here in the Home app. There's occupancy, and then there's presence. And I'm not exactly sure the difference. I know in the Aqara app specifically, you can have like multiple people detected. Aqara even says it can detect falls. If the occupancy sensor, like I guess, detects a body and then I guess detects the body on the ground, or like, there's some way that it can actually detect a fall, and it can detect multiple people. So I'm not sure if that presence is that multiple people sensor. I've not been able to distinguish what that is just yet. But as you can see, I'm here in the studio, and it says occupancy is triggered, and it detects me. So I have been trying to set up automations with the occupancy sensor. And I will say setting them up for turning things on has been great. So I did a thing where I set up an automation, and basically when it detects occupancy between 8 and 9 a.m. in the morning, which is usually between when I get here in the studio and sit down, if between that hour block, if it detects occupancy, then turn on the light, open my blinds, turn on the fan, ceiling fan. And that works great. And it actually works very quickly. I walked in this morning, and 2 seconds after I walked into the room, all the devices, the turned on blinds open. So when it comes to automations based on occupancy, it's doing really well. I have not been able to get it to trigger on not occupied. I tried to set up an automation where if no occupancy is detected, which is a step that you can do here in the Home app, that it would turn off the lights. Because if I'm in the studio, lights on. If I leave the studio, lights off. Like you would think that you could do that. And supposedly it allows me to do that. Again, I don't know if it's... I tried the occupancy and the presence because you have to select only one in an automation. And here in the Home app, you could see there is the option for stops detecting occupancy. And supposedly, I would think when I leave the room, it would, say no one's in the room anymore. And the Aqara app is saying no people detected. But for some reason in the Home app, it's not triggering that automation to turn everything off when no occupancy is detected. So I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong there. I also don't know if it's somehow detecting occupancy through like the door or through the wall. And again, I have to maybe try the setup for the area that it's monitoring specifically, because our family room is right outside the studio, like just a few feet away. And so there are many times where a body might just be sitting right outside my door for hours at a time. And I don't know if somehow this thing might be detecting it through the wall. It's a possibility. So that might be why those automations for no occupancy detected are not running. So I'm going to have to do some more testing on that, and we'll do a follow-up, man. After you set up yours, I'd be curious your experience with the stops detecting occupancy automations. But it's really cool. It is a USB-C plugged-in device. It is not battery-operated, so it's not like you can just put this anywhere. You do have to plug it in. No brick included. They include the cable, but no brick. So just put it into one of my chargers here on the desk. But pretty cool. I'm glad we finally have an occupancy sensor. There's like little mounting things that come with it if you want to put it like on the ceiling. That actually is like one of the recommended locations, like a ceiling in the room. But to plug it in, that's kind of a challenge. So anyway, it's cool. It's a cool device. Again, occupancy automations are working. Still got to play around with the stops detecting occupancy automation. There's a lot of vowels in those words. And I'll see how that turns out. But it's here. It's here, an occupancy sensor here in the U.S. Look at that.
Nice.
Boom. Boom. So let me know. Specifically try an automation where stops detecting occupancy, turns some stuff off, and let me know what your experience is there. Because, yeah.
What I'm worried about, Steven, is like, what's like the delay on those things? You know what I mean? Like, is there going to be weird things like you walked out of the room, like, oh shit, I forgot my AirPods, and you walk back in and you walk back out. So you have like an in out really quick, and it's like, wait, what are the lights going to do? Because like commands aren't instantaneous, and you could end up with like flickering like commands overlapping, and I don't know what your light status would be kind of at the end, like which commands make it through and which ones don't make it through of those automations, and like how quick it like detects like, okay, stop detecting motion or presence before it kills those lights. Like, is it almost like if there's like almost like a delay with like its sensors, like it stopped detecting but it still kind of legacy was detecting, and that's why it's like not automating. Like it almost needs like there's like a buffer in between. Like maybe like 30 seconds or after motion stop detecting, turn off lights. Something like that.
I mean, I left it for several hours. Like I had the automation enabled for stops detecting occupancy. I left my studio, closed the door behind me, left my lights on and everything, and just to see like, is it going to turn off? I came back a couple hours later and they were still on. So it didn't.
Sure, but if you had, because don't forget, like a lot of people don't realize, like when you set up a command, it takes a little bit sometimes to propagate through your HomeKit system, because it's like your automations are running through your HomePods or your Home Hubs. So like you set that up, you're in the studio, right? Then you leave. So it's stopped detecting motion, but that automation hadn't propagated through your Home Hubs yet. So you come back, they're still, oh, why are they still on? Because it stopped detecting and never sent that trigger. Now, granted, if you walked out of it again that second, it should have triggered. Because hours later, it would have propagated. So at that point, it should have worked. But, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, well, let's follow up. I'll keep playing around with the automations, but I'm just glad we have an occupancy sensor available now. It's cool. Threw a car up. And, we'll do a follow-up. Now, you had mentioned, as we started, there were some new MagSafe stuff, or MagSafe-ish things that were available. Why don't you tell me about those? What's going on with MagSafe?
Yeah, apparently since we're jumping back to car stuff in this episode, iAudi has 2 new MagSafe-compatible chargers coming out. These are not, though, the versions I was super excited about from CES. We had talked about I think they were the iAudi Velix Elite, and the original ones that we had seen at CES were fully MFM certified, made for MagSafe certified, and they had full 15 watts of charging. What makes them unique is they are actively cooled. So they have little fans in the back of these that will cool them down, and it's going to keep giving you those charging speeds. So here's the thing. ESR, which we've talked about a lot, like they did that AirPods cover we talked about last week, they have an actively cooled car charger. But theirs is not MagSafe certified, so it's only 7.5 watts, but with the active cooling, it does well. Like it can basically keep up with a 15-watt charger because it's keeping it so cool it can charge at higher rates. So when iAudi created a MagSafe certified one with active cooling, you're going to get the best of everything. So these new ones, again, are basically the same thing as the ESR version. There's the Velix Mini, which is available in Midnight Blue as well as new Astral Gray. And then there is the new Velix Pro, which is available in Midnight Blue. So the Velix Pro is more of like it connects like your dash and has an arm that you can adjust and do things. MagSafe compatible, but not MagSafe certified. So 7.5 watts. Same thing goes for Velix Mini. But they do have the Velix Elite that are fully certified with 15 watts that are still coming. If you're okay with slightly slower charging speeds, these are great options. They're also going to be cheaper because they don't have to pay for MagSafe certification. They don't have the MagSafe logo on there. Same compatibility, going to work just as good, just not as fast charging. Really good options. But I'm excited for both of these products. The fact that we have new 7.5 watts with active cooling and actual MagSafe with active cooling coming still later this year. But the Velix Pro and the Velix Mini are both available now through iAudi. We got links in Amazon, I think, but Stephen will put links in the show notes for us. So we have those. By the way, Stephen, unrelated, I had someone reach out, and I forgot to mention it. Asked to put that Siri shortcut link that we had talked about.
Yes.
I don't know if you had tried, but I had someone ask. They want that shortcut.
They want the
link.
Siri shortcut link. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to figure out how to share it and it like trigger the setup because it has my home and all my home pods as the triggers, and so I'll try to create just like a blank one and maybe share
make
that.
a duplicate and then empty it out, put just notes or something.
Yeah, duplicate because I also added a part of the menu when I triggered that intercom shortcut where I can also type something in manually when I run it and then choose a specific HomePod from a menu. And so it'll send just what I typed to an individual HomePod, or I can choose from one of 4 different options that I already had set. So let me duplicate it, strip it. It will be, I promise, it will be in this week's show notes. I'll put it right at the top. I'm going to make a bold instruction here in my note. Intercom shortcut. Boom.
Steven, here's what you need to do. Here's how you make this fancier, okay? You don't have to actually do anything. Everyone else can do this right now. There's a few different options for this. And they reached out to me, and they said they had reached out to you too. But use that Zozo Chat GPT shortcut. So you go to enter your prompt, and you just use ChatGPT to enter some crazy way to find a way to summon my kids. And generate something on the fly.
Give me some pentameter for this intercom command. That would be amazing.
Really dirty limerick and then just have it. It'll automatically generate. So it's built right into your shortcut, and you can just tap it.
Give me a haiku on brushing your teeth. That'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, because for anyone who wasn't sure, there's literally an app called like Zozo, I think, Chat or something, and basically it's a keyboard for iOS that allows you to use ChatGPT to generate things. So whether it's in your text or whatever app you're using, so in this case, like Steven's shortcuts, then you can use it just to generate some text and then do stuff with it.
Yeah, you can. That is pretty cool. I've used their app too because you can actually just put like links and stuff and access it through that third-party keyboard, which is really helpful if you like quick share just URLs to your own brand or website or videos that you commonly share. So it is pretty cool. Zozo, Z-O-Z-O. And real quick, I got the rain gauge for my Netatmo weather station, as you predicted accurately. I've not gotten the anemometer yet. I don't know if I'll get
anemometer.
Yeah, anemometer. But I did get the rain gauge. Unfortunately, it hasn't rained yet since I put it up, so I'll have to report back. I know. It was raining, and then I put it up, and then it stopped raining. Like, it was raining for like a couple of days. It would rain a little bit, and then it stopped raining. The only thing about this rain gauge that was kind of annoying, I saw this picture on the back of the box, and I was like, oh, cool. They include that little stake. This way you could put it in the ground, and it's not just sitting there. No stake included. Like, you literally just get this rain gauge. And so I actually bought this, like, big metal stake that has, like, the 3 prongs to make sure it was really secure. And it has the little, like, camera screw top. Because the bottom of the rain gauge has, like, that little screw, like a camera tripod, and so you can screw it onto that. So anyway, I got it out there. It's out back, and I'll report after it rains. Maybe it'll rain sometime the next week, and then I will let everybody know how it goes. All right. Well, I'll report back on that. But listener question: you have something about a stolen doorbell and video evidence. What's going on here?
Yeah, I'm curious your thoughts about this real quick, Stephen. But so Vanessa Fleetwood sent in a question for us, which was that she has the Logitech Circle View video doorbell. She's had 2 of them stolen, just ripped off of her door. And see, I sent you a little video. It's a little creepy of this guy approaching the door, and you don't get to see him rip off the doorbell for whatever reason, but it looks like it cuts out just before that. But she was asking if we had any tips on how to not get them stolen, and I have seen Steven some doorbell protection devices, and they'll clip over your door. They'll be like stainless steel. They're adjustable. You put your doorbell inside, and it can stick on your door frame instead, so that way they can't be removed. And a lot of them are adjustable, so they fit other doors, including Ring is the big one, but it should fit ones like the Circle. I'm just not sure on routing power appropriately if you're mounting it on your door instead of the frame. So I have seen security devices, but none of them seem to fit outside of the door, but they might have other mounting options. But there are a few different security ones on Amazon that you could check out, but that sucks. That's just ridiculous.
That's crazy. It is weird. Yeah. So I just quickly searched on Amazon, like every single one of these are for the Ring. This is all...
But a lot of them are adjustable. They of course 1,000,000% show the Ring, but a lot of them are adjustable. I mean, when you have that much of the market share, despite so many privacy and security concerns, it's no wonder that everyone uses it as the example device.
Well, let's call out to the HomeKeteer army. If you have a protector for your video doorbell, reach out to Andrew and I. Let us know what you're using, especially if it fits the Logitech Circle View doorbell, because that is wild. It's just stolen right off the house. That's weird. What's
the point? I don't know.
I don't know. I guess you could factory reset it.
But it's still paired to your HomeKit Home. You can't pair it to anything else. Can't do anything.
You could probably factory reset it, though, as the thief.
Nope.
You can't?
Not if it's still paired with your home until you unpair it.
Really?
Yep. Because that's that security code that's tied to your Apple ID. So if someone stole your HomeKit device, tried to repair it, it has both you removed from your home and factory reset to be able to be paired again.
Huh. Interesting.
Yep.
Okay. All right, well, listeners, let us know. How do you protect your video doorbell? Let us know. All of the ways to contact Andrew and myself are in the show notes. Let us know what HomeKit projects you got going on, other questions, and we'll report back on the presence sensor and my weather station very soon. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.
See you guys.